Welcome back, episode number 29, ladies and gentlemen. Back into the thick of things, for lack of a better term. Thinking on my feet, not working well for me today. We're back. Episode 29 this week. I have a topic set this week, submitted by the good old friend of the podcast, Dr. Fat. If you're admiring my hair, which you won't be doing if it's audio, but I cut it myself, again. I think I've cut my own hair for the past 4 or 5 months. I'm getting better, although I did have a mishap a few weeks ago, where I had to shave it all off, but we're past that, and I got a good fresh haircut. Friend of the podcast, Dr. Fat, submitted a topic that I thought was very interesting. And it is, are decisions made based on the data you consume, or are they based on the data you create? And I think that's a fantastic question. And we will get to that at some stage, but not yet. It's been going on. It's only been a few days since I last recorded a podcast. I recorded on Tuesday, one of the two. And here we are on a Saturday recording again. I was supposed to record last night, but shit got in the way. So I'm recording now. Happy days. I hit a 3 hour and 10 minutes, very specific ride this morning. It was good. I felt fucking fantastic out there, flying around on the roads. Just keep feeling fitter and fitter, which is what you want, I suppose. I had 4 25-minute efforts, but went harder in those efforts, but went pretty consistent throughout the whole lot. Felt really strong. Averaged about 29.4 Ks an hour. I wonder how many watts I averaged, which is the important stat. Ks an hour fluctuates depending on the elevation, all that kind of crap, but watts is the one. Watts is the stat you want. Averaged 224 watts, which is pretty good for a whole ride. Had 1,300 meters of elevation. Damn, son. So averaging 29 Ks with 1,300 meters of elevation is pretty fucking solid. I'm very happy with that. Very, very happy. I'm 2 weeks out now from Geelong. When's Geelong? The 20th. Yep. So it's tomorrow in 2 weeks' time, which is fucking exciting. Like, I get tingly just thinking about it. It's going to be a fucking good race. I was looking at last year's stats right now, which I'll do again, just to go over them with you. Well, I've got you guys here. I was looking at them thinking, because I want to try and go 440. I want to try and beat last year's time, but I would like to do 440. And I was looking at last year's stats, and my swim was 28:47, which I think I can get under 28, which is like a minute. Great. Then my ride was 2 hours 40, which is pretty fucking quick. Averaged 33, nearly 34 Ks an hour, which I was like, if I can average that this time, I should be right. Fuck, I'm going to have to average 36 Ks an hour if I want to get 2.5 hours, which is solid. And then my run was an hour 41, which I would be happy to get that again this year, which I think I'll be able to go a bit quicker. But I was just looking at it thinking, in my head, I thought my times were slower, and I thought I would easily be able to pick up another 15 minutes, but I don't know. And we're going to have to, it's going to be interesting to see. The elevation for Geelong is only about 619 meters, which is fucking way better than 1,200. So if I can hold, similar power that I put out today in Geelong, I should be able to get 36 Ks an hour. That's super, that makes me so confident knowing that, I rode for 3 hours and 10 minutes and I had, 93, 94 Ks today. So if I can replicate the same effort in the race with less elevation, I should be fucking sweet. So I'm very excited. While I was ripping around today, I did something that was... Oh, I got a pimple. Don't get distracted. I did something that was a little bit reckless, but I was doing an effort, right? And this guy, I assume it was a guy, I don't know, this person was driving with like a camp trailer on, and they were driving really fucking slow, and I was doing like 35, 40 k's an hour, and you'd expect a car to do more than that, wouldn't you? Well, they weren't, and I was like, I want to keep my effort going, like, now I'm feeling really good, I want to keep carrying this through, I don't want to stop, I don't want to slow down, like, I feel fucking good, I don't want to tarnish my my effort because this person's going really slow. So, like, I was fucking sitting up there, ass probably drafting a bit, and then it got to the roundabout, and they just fucking slammed on their brakes. There were no cars coming. They slammed on their brakes and, like, were hard up against the right, so I couldn't go past that way. And, like, I made a split-second decision that was probably the wrong choice. I'm okay, but it was probably got me in a bit of trouble. I decided to go on the inside. I was like, fuck these guys. Went on the inside, and then turned right at the roundabout. So went on the inside, cut in front of them, and then turned right on the roundabout. And they got mad, and they sped up and, like, you know, bipped at me and yelled some shit. And I was like, well, you could have fucking sped up before. Like, I mean, I wouldn't have overtaken you if you had have actually gone the speed limit before. I'm just going to wipe my camera because I'm worried, I'm paranoid the lens is dirty. Yeah, you could have fucking sped up before and not just, you know, gone slow the whole time, and I wouldn't have had to do what I did, but I did. And they got mad, and I think, like, now they're going to have a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to cyclists, which sucks. I hate when people do that, when people give drivers, motorists, bad impressions of cyclists, because then you always get on the receiving end of it. You always cop it. Like, some dude pulled me up at a general store a few weeks ago and started giving me a hard time about cyclists. Oh, you blokes fucking drive right up King Lake and you take up all the road and then you come down and you fucking, you know. And I was like, us blokes. I was like, mate, I ride solo. I don't ride in groups. He was like, oh yeah, but you fucking take up all the road. And I was like, I need to take up the road so I don't die. Like, if I sit right on the edge, you guys think you can go past when you fucking can't. And then you clip me and that's it. It's game over. Whereas if I sit a bit further out, you're not going to risk it. And I just said to him, I was like, I'm cautious of, you know, drivers. I know when there's a driver behind me. I don't agree with riding, you know, two abreast when there's fucking cars everywhere. That's silly. And I think that's what he had the problem with. He had the problem with people riding, you know, two abreast all the time and just taking up all the road. Whereas I ride alone, I don't ride with other people, so I don't fucking have that problem. I just said to him, I was like, hey, you know, just remember, we're trying to be fucking alive too. And he ended up taking it. I don't know. I ended up leaving. I can't really remember how it went. I think he was alright about it, but, you know, if not, it doesn't matter. I tried. I had a crack. But yeah. And then something else happened that was wonderful and magical. I was riding up a hill, and I heard this fucking thump, and I was like, what the fuck was that? And I was like, oh, did my tyre fall off or something? Turned around and my drink bottle had fallen out of my rear drink bottle cages. And I was like, shit. So I, like, rode up to the top of the hill, you know, stopped, got off, like, ran down. This lady, I stopped and pulled over, and this lady was behind me waiting to go past, and then she thought I was stopping to talk to her. And then she, like, put down her window. She's like, what did I do? And I was like, oh, I'm just getting my drink bottle. She's like, oh, that was yours. I was like, yeah. Oh, gee, no stress. And then she drove off. Then I picked my drink bottle up, and some other dude drove past, put his window down. He's like, oh, you grabbed it? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, cool. And I was like, wait, did you fucking turn around to come and get it and give it to me? He's like, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? What a nice dude. Like, on his P's. I would never expect a P plater to do that shit for me. But he did. He stopped, turned around, went to pick it up and give it to me, but then he was like, realised I picked it up, so he just chucked a Yui and off he went into the distance. But that kind of behaviour deserves a fucking reward and a shout out. So, don't know your name. Don't even know, can't even really remember what you look like, because it was pretty deep into the ride. But if you're listening, thank you. I appreciate it. You did a really good job. Didn't expect it, so I'm grateful, eternally grateful for you bringing intending to bring my drink bottle back to me. I fucking appreciate it. Appreciate it heaps, mate. Otherwise the ride was fucking good. I got another 3-hour ride tomorrow, so I don't know if I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna try and I'll stick to the efforts more. Like today, I probably just went full send the whole time because I wanted to see how quick I could go. Whereas tomorrow, I'll tone it back. I'll be like, all right, cool. I'll follow my program properly because I got to run off the bike. I've got 14Ks, which will be, it'll be what it'll be. It'll be fine. What's the pacing on it? I'll check while I'm on the air. I don't think it's too fast. 1 hour and 7. What is that? What do you reckon that is? Quick maths. I don't know. 4:50. Fuck. So it's quick. Oh Jesus. 12 at 4:44. Okay. I'll be running in the fucking endorphins. I ran in them for the first time on Friday. And they, I don't know. At first they were a bit weird. I didn't know what to think when I was running in them. It just felt, I don't know, unnatural. Not what I'm used to. But by the end of it, fuck, I was flying. I had some pretty solid efforts, and I noticed my heart rate was low. Like it could have been due to a number of things. Maybe because it was cool. It was early in the morning, so it wasn't hot yet. Like I don't know, it could have been due to a number of things. But I found my heart rate was really low, and it was easy. Like once you picked up speed and you like got momentum going, it was like easy to carry it through. Like none of my muscles were blowing up. Like my hammies weren't blowing up, glutes weren't blowing up. Nothing. And I had like 800 meter efforts at 4 minutes or something, which is pretty quick, or pretty, lactic heavy for me at times. So yeah, I was fucking pumped with them. And on the topic of runners, I ran in the Hokas, the Bondis again. I'm calling them the Bondi boats. I ran in them again, and dude, I had this realization, right? So last time I ran in the Hokas, it was the first run I'd ever done in them, and it was 20Ks, and I was like, oh, ouch, it just hurt. So I was like, it was the first run in them. That's not what they're going to be like. Second run I did was 17Ks, and dude, they were just fantastic. The Bondi 7s, Bondi boats, they were fucking awesome. And then I finished, and I like did a little walk cool down. I was like, these are the comfiest shoes I've ever worn in my life. Like I was walking in them, I was like, I don't want to take these off. Usually when I finish a run, I want to get the shoes off ASAP, but I finished and I was like, damn, I just like, it was like it was the coziest shoe ever. It was just the best feeling. So I love them. Yeah. Happy with both my shoe purchases in the last couple of weeks, days, I don't know. So fucking stoked with them. Whoa. All right. Let's roll it back. Let's roll the clock back. Actually, let's not roll it back. Let's roll it forward. Roll it forward. So last week, a few weeks ago, Caitlin and I went to this like pub that does vegan pub meals as well as normal pub meals, and it's called the Cornish Arms. And like I went there and I just put up a photo of the food and I was like, sick, this is awesome. Like I over ordered as I normally do, and then last week I got a message and it was from them, the Cornish Arms, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, why are these guys messaging me? And I was like, no, whatever. Then I checked, and it turns out we won a $50 voucher because of, you automatically enter a competition when you share it to your story. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's awesome. So for dinner tonight, we're going back, Cornish Arms, spend our $50 voucher and then some to get some delicious food. So that's exciting. That's on the agenda for this evening. I'm sure I'll post a story of my meal because it's going to be fucking delicious and massive. Anyway, let's wind the clock back, right, to the start of the week. Not really, because I recorded the start. Let's wind the clock back a couple of days. I've had a few realizations this week, right, and one of them is like, how do I say this without coming across as mean? Like, okay, 90%. Let's say 90%. Let's pluck a number out of the air. Let's say 90%. 90% of dudes in the sauna are just full of shit. Like, I don't know if you've ever sat in a sauna before, but 90% of dudes that are sitting in the sauna, and the ones that are sitting in the sauna and talking, are full of shit. Like, the shit they say is just... mate, they are just fucking absolutely full of it, dude. One guy, I shit you not, I was sitting in the sauna, like I just finished a swim, jumped in the sauna, and I was sitting there listening to him talk shit, and he was saying, like, he was saying facts. But just because they're facts doesn't mean you're not full of shit. Like, he was there talking about, oh yeah, you know, saunas are really good for reducing your what's it called? Your not comorbidity. Your like your overall risk of death. He was saying, yeah, it's really good to reducing your overall risk of death. You know, I think it was 20 minutes a day or something. He's like, it's fucking, you know, it's really good, really, really good. And I looked up, and he literally had his hands just sitting on top of his gut while he was standing there. And I was like, bro, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think it's gonna help if you're, you know, out doing the fucking sauna when you go home with snacks, alcohol, all the shit that's gonna fuck you up. Like, you probably should look at your nutrition and what you're putting in your body first before you worry about sitting in the sauna. Like, he was talking about, oh yeah, it sweats out all your toxins that your body can't get rid of. It's like, yeah, but when you're putting in more than you can sweat out, then it's not going to make a difference, dude. I just thought it was hilarious. Like, I was, it's that's what I mean by full of shit. Like, yeah, it's facts, it's true, it is good for you, but in combination with other good things. You can't just do the sauna because it's not going to fucking work. And then he was talking to some other dude saying, oh, it's good for fitness as well. And I was like, I chimed in because, you know, I love everything that's good for fitness. And I was like, yeah, he's right. It is good for fitness. And he's like, yeah, you know, when you come in and you sweat it up for, you know, 20 minutes and you walk out with a heart rate of like 140, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good workout. It's better than, you know, actually doing stuff. And I was like, you walk out with a heart rate of 140. You walk out of the sauna after 20 minutes with a heart rate of 140. What the fuck are you doing, son? Holy shit. Mine got up to like 115 after 20 minutes, and that was after coming back from COVID. 140? Holy fuck, dude. That's bad. Like, no, you should definitely be doing other shit. Like, you should not be relying on the sauna if your heart rate's 140 after 20 minutes. You should be doing other stuff. You should be walking, maybe. I don't know. That's not fucking good, man. That's fucking... What? Your body is struggling that much that your heart rate's 140 after 20 minutes of sitting in the sauna. I come out sleepy as afterwards. Like, yeah, my heart rate's like 115 maybe. Usually sits around the fucking high 90s, maybe 100. Depends. If I'm stretching, it'll go up. But 140? Fuck. I ran 10.5 Ks on Friday. That was my interval session, and my average heart rate was 137. I get it, I'm fit, but still, 140 after sitting on your ass for 20 minutes is like, I don't know, I feel like it's not acceptable. I feel like it's pretty fucking, like, if that was happening to me, that would just be setting off red flags everywhere. So I feel bad for the dude. I want to say something to him, but at the same time, you're like, whatever. Like, these guys aren't going to listen. They're all fucking full of shit. They just jump in and talk bullshit. And then there was one dude, right? I thought this was so ridiculous. He was probably the most skinny fat guy I've ever seen in my entire life. Just talking about, you know, the same bullshit about how saunas are really good. You know, they're fucking grouse. You fucking, you know, you sweat out the toxins. You put a bit of eucalyptus on there and fucking smells great, you know, all this shit. He's like, it's never hot enough in here. And I'm like, well, then why don't you fucking keep coming here? Go somewhere else. Then he starts talking. He's like, oh, yeah, you never see Chinese people use saunas. They always use steam rooms. And I like looked to the guy next to me, and he looked at me and then looked at the dude saying this. And he was like, he was an old Chinese gentleman. He was like, fucking, are you serious, dude? I'm sitting right here. Anyway, rant over. Yeah, bottom line is, guys that sit in the sauna, let me start that again, right? Bottom line is, the old guys that talk in the sauna are like 90% full of shit. They always come out with the most ridiculous things to say ever. And my judgment from, you know, being there, being privy to it, is that they are just full of shit. They're nine times out of 10 skinny fat and just full of shit. Anyway, next topic. Yeah, I got a message. Fantastic. All right. Sorry, got revved up there, eh? I might crack a Cocoa Coast just to Did you hear that they're actually, you can buy them and they send them to you now. You buy them online. Fantastic. So if they're not on special at the shops, you may as well get them delivered bulk from the Cocoa Coast themselves. All right, let's touch on something nice. The shows that I'm watching at the moment. So Caitlin and I just finished watching. There's a bit of fucking cotton flying around. Just finished watching Witcher. It is fantastic. If you haven't watched Witcher, on Netflix, Henry Cavill plays The Witcher. He's fucking the best. He was made for playing Superman and The Witcher. He plays it so fucking well. He just nails it, and the story's so fucking good. The way, like, I was talking to Ben about it this week, and the way, like, the storyline works is they get you, like, the first few episodes, they just slowly build. It's like I don't know what that kind of chart is, but it slowly builds. And then, like, what is it called? It starts with A. Fuck it. I don't know. It slowly builds. Like, they start slow, and then by the last few episodes, it's like bang, 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 bang. Then it finishes on something fucking insane. It finishes on next level shit. So finish watching that. I have started, I'm midway through Righteous Gemstones. It's got Adam Devine in it, and it's got Adam Devine, what's his name? Danny McBride, John Goodman. It's hilarious. It's a comedy. It's a comedy about, they nailed it. It's a comedy about, like, this family of preachers that are just fucking loaded with cash and have, like, a preposterous, like, living situation. They all roll around in fucking G-Wagons and fast white cars because they're preachers. They have 6 private jets. It's ridiculous. They have so much money, and it's just making fun of that whole kind of situation thing. So it's quite good. I'm watching that on binge, and I'm fucking enjoying it. It's very funny. If you've seen the Suicide Squad, the new one, Peacemaker, who is played by John Cena, he has his own TV show, and I've started watching that, and it is fucking fantastic. It's by James Gunn, I think, is producing and directing it, and he did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and he's just fucking killing it, man. It is fantastic. Like, it's not G-rated, it's not PG rated. It's like, it's dirty, it's funny. It's just, think Deadpool. It's that kind of funny. And one of the characters actually in there, Vigilante, is just reminiscent of Deadpool. It's insane. That's on... What's Peacemaker on? That's also on Binge. Binge has all, like, the HBO shit. So if you want to watch fucking, funny stuff, get on Binge as well. It's got some pretty good shit on there. And, like, the new episodes come out weekly. So, yeah, Peacemaker's fantastic. Gotta watch it. And then, last but not least, Mandalorian, or the Book of Boba Fett. Oh, it's just riveting. I'm going to rewatch the Star Wars movies again, which will be the 3rd or 4th time I've seen them, just to fill in the gaps of stuff that I may have missed. But so good. I love the storyline is fantastic, and the Mandalorian is such a good character. But what baffles me most about all that stuff is, like, Jon Favreau is the creator of Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, like those TV shows. And Jon Favreau plays Happy on the Marvel movies. Like, I think pretty sure he's a director in the Marvel movies as well, and a writer. But he wrote the Mandalorian and stuff like that, which I never knew. I was like, this guy just plays this character. That's all I thought he was. He was just his character. But he's written so many good things. It's crazy. If you look at I'll pull it up now. So he plays Happy on Marvel. But if you look at the shit he's written and directed, it's crazy. Jon Favreau. Here we go. He's written so many fucking things. Actor. Let's skip through that. I'm looking at his IMDb page now. It always baffles me. I just never... Producer. Let's see what his director... Sorry. Writer. What's he written? Mandalorian, Boba Fett. Maybe I should have gone... Shit, I'm sorry. I should have gone with the other ones. All right, sorry. Let's go back to director. All right, let's keep it simple. He's directed some of the best shit. Mandalorian, Lion King, The Office. He was a director on The Office? What? Fucking hell. Iron Man 2, Zathura, Alf. Yeah. Anyway, he's directed some really good shit and a producer of some really good shit. So next time you see Happy, make sure you make a mental note of like, this guy's fucking legit. He's got some good shit out there. Yeah. So that's what I'm watching at the moment. What else is news? I've got a roof rack for my bike. So I don't know if I've touched on this, but I put a roof tray on my car, a Rhino Rack roof tray, which covers the whole roof. And that meant like I had no bike rack for a while. I haven't had one until this week actually, because I just haven't had one that fits my car. So I put a roof tray on. I was like, how am I going to get a bike rack? Like none of the Rhino Rack bike racks that I saw were compatible with my bikes, because they were all like through axle ones now, which is annoying. And I was just like, I was really frustrated. I was like trying to ask people and no one knew the answer to my questions. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to buy there's a 2-piece one where you hook the forks into the first part, and then like you have the second part that you clip into the tray somewhere, and that's where the wheel sits. So I bought that. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to buy it and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, I'll return it. So I bought it, and then I bought an extra part that was like, okay, maybe this will help fit my forks on it, whatever. Anyway, bought it, set it up, and I didn't need to buy any extra bits. It worked. I just had to get a special like thing to clamp my front wheel in, but yeah, works, locks, happy, fucking fits on the top of my car, and it was only $150, so I'm fucking stoked. The downside is that it makes like the highest point of it is like 3.2 meters high, which is pretty high. So I won't be going in any underground car parks or under anything really with that, because it'll probably fucking get chopped off. I definitely won't be going under the Montague Bridge, that's for sure, because it will be gone if I do. Yeah, fucking pumped with that. I started having smoothies this week. I haven't had smoothies, like I've been making let's call them protein thick shakes, right? Because smoothies are good. I've been having smoothie bowls, but I haven't had protein thick shakes for ages. And like what I've been doing is just get a couple of scoops of, or a couple of tablespoons of this my vegan protein that I use. I put in like a heap of frozen banana and then some almond milk or soy, whatever's open, and just a bit of peanut butter and blend that shit up until it's thick, and just try and drink it or eat it with a spoon. It's fucking amazing. I love it. I've just been smashing them. I think I've had one every day this week. So good. Had one this morning after I got back from my ride, and it was fabulous. So I'm fucking onto them hard right now. They are just hitting the fucking spot. Which is, yeah, it's nice. Like I'm going to use my protein powder. I never really use it. Maybe that's why my recovery's been pretty good. I'm fucking flying this week. Who knows? Anyway, moving on to the next topic. So I was at the shops and I witnessed the funniest and saddest thing ever. I'll tell you what the funniest thing was first. So I was at the shops, right? At the self-checkout at Woolies, buying my Cocoa Coast to, drink because it's delicious. And I was sitting there, beep, beep, putting the shit in the bag. And then I look to my left and I see this, like the attendant was panicked. She was like, oh, excuse me. And I look to my left and see this lady at the checkout with this big A4 sign that says this checkout is not in order. And she's trying to scan her items. And I was like, how do you not notice that? Like, you can't scan it because there's a sign saying, hey, this is not being used. And I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. But then I realized she was like 70, 80 years old. And I was like, oh, now it becomes really sad. Like, she's fucking obviously declining a bit. And I was like, shit, shouldn't have laughed. I feel like a dick now. But, like, I mean, it was still pretty fucking funny. So I'm still laughing about it. But, yeah, it was just sad that she was old. I wonder, like, what are other examples of that? Like, of that situation happening, that it would be hilarious if it was a younger kid, but, perfect. Falling over. Mate, if you follow the kids getting hurt page, that's so funny. I love that shit when kids like fly off scooters, slip over, do weird shit. It's the best. I laugh at it all the time. But if that was like old people, like if they had old ladies slipping over and shit, it'd be fucking sad. It'd be like, damn, man, like, fuck. That's dangerous. Like, that could be your last trip. So that's one example. What other shit's hilarious? Oh, fuck, man. I don't know. I got distracted. I had like a minor lapse of concentration while I was trying to think of examples. Other examples of, when it's funny because when it happens to young people, but it's sad when it happens to old people. Oh, like car accidents. I mean, well, they're not really funny at all. I'm just going to leave this topic and just move on to the next one, eh? Yeah, I think I should do that. So, right, I was coming home from Caitlin's one morning, I don't know, and I got to there's this bridge, right, and it's a one-way bridge, and there's a school on the side that I was on, and the give way signs on the other side. So the people on the other side of the bridge that were coming in the opposite direction of me should have been giving way to me, right? But I presume they were trying to get to the school that was on my side. Anyway, I go there to go, and these fucking like 5 cars just cut in and keep going. And I noticed that all of them were mums, except for one guy who was a dad. But regardless, they were all parents. And I was like, these fuckers are crazy, mate. Crazy shit happens to parents when they're running late for their kids' school. They just don't give a fuck about traffic at all. They don't care about the rules. They're like, no, we're making it on time. And then, like, literally 5 minutes later, I was at the traffic lights and this fucking lady in a van was like tailgating me. And she pulls up next to me in a minivan. She pulls up next to me and I was like, okay. I was like, I'm going to fucking smoke this bitch. Like, fuck you. And the light turns green and she fucking ripped, mate. She was driving harder than Vin Diesel in the pacifier. She was fucking scooting. She was like, meow, meow, cutting through cars. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And she had a dash cam. I was like, Jesus, you're fucking crazy, man. And I ended up getting to the school she was trying to go to at the exact same time as her. And I wasn't driving like a psychopath. But it led me to realize, I was like, mate, no one... Like, you think you're a fucking crazy driver. You are nowhere near as crazy as mums or parents who are running late for their kids' school. They are the fucking craziest drivers, mate. They don't give a shit about the road rules at all. It was fucking wild, mate. Wild experience. I was fearing for my life. I wasn't, but, I was baffled. I was kind of cut. My ego got a bit cut because I was like, fuck, I should have beat her. Should have fucking then slowed down, which is, I love pulling that move on people that tailgate. Get in front of them, then slow down and just piss them off and sit there and laugh and enjoy watching them suffer. But yeah, I was baffled by how fucking wild, absolutely wild parents are when they're trying to get their kids to school. Fucking hell, mate. I need a drink. Anyway, how's your week going? How's yours weeks going? Great. Great language there. I can't remember what I was going to say. Yeah, how are your weeks going? How's your week been, I should say? Been good? Getting up to much stuff? It's wild how the weather's changed and it's cold in the mornings now. I couldn't undo my shoelaces the other day. Got back from my run and I was like, my fingers just weren't working. I was like, great, we're having this problem again. And then it was like 35, or not 35, don't exaggerate, it was like 28 that day. I was like, great, why couldn't you be hot in the morning too? Same thing this morning. Went for a ride. I had all the layers on except for gloves. So I had like a long sleeve thermal top and then I had my cycling top, and then I had a plastic like over vest to keep the wind out. And I was like, this is good. Like, I was cozy when I started, and then like got to 8 o'clock and I was like, I could get rid of all these layers. I'm fucking dying. So I did. But like, I just want it to be fucking 17 again. Like, even tomorrow morning, it's 13 in the morning. I fucking hate it when it's like that. Because it means I've got to pack layers and shit. I don't want to wear layers. I just want to wear a fucking cycle top and just get out there and fucking hit it. But no, we got the fucking cold mornings back. Wonderful. Anyway. Yeah. I'm going to adjust my headphones. I had a thought this week. Actually, other news. Sorry, let's just chop in here. I was talking to a mate who is doing stand-up. Like, he's in it now. And he's like done a couple of open mics, and he actually did his first show the other night. And I found a spot that does open mics on Thursdays at 7:30. So I think I'm going to try it out. After my Ironman, once I get that out of the way, then I'm going to have a crack. I think I'll give myself a week, and then I'm going to go and I think they do 4-minute spots. So you sign up at 7, and then you get in 7:30, and then like you go on at some point after that and do your 4 minutes. So I'm going to give it a crack. I've got a huge list of, not a huge list. Come on, mate, settle the fuck down. I've got a nice list of jokes or things that I think are funny. I've been trying to think of what my style would kind of be like, and I feel like my style is more of a storyteller. Like, I don't come out with fucking punchline after punchline. I feel like I'm just a good storyteller. I feel like I have stories to tell, and then I feel like I've got some good stories, good funny stories with a comedic twist. And I'm trying to think of, like, you know, I want to tell them as truthful as possible, but I feel like you got to add a bit of juice to make them funny. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down I'm actually going to sit down and write down my jokes, and like write them out to just have a good flow. Like, not write them out to memorize them, write them out to have a good flow and a good structure, and like all the key points I want to hit, and then juice them up with a bit of funny shit or stuff that I think will make them funny. So yeah, I'm very nervous. I was thinking about it while I was writing today. Very nervous, but also very excited, because it's a big step. It's the first step in a long line of steps towards, being funny. I feel like I've got a long way to go, but I feel like I'll get there. Anyway, I feel like I'm chewing up too much time just talking shit. It's like we're nearly 40 minutes in and I haven't even touched on the topic yet. Oh boy. All right. So I'm going to save a few topics for next week, because I don't want to fucking, I don't want to blow them out. All right. So I'm going to talk about my psychology appointment, because I feel like I learned something very cool, or very, not cool, actually, scratch that, wasn't cool at all. But, so she's very, like, my psychologist is very, it's different. She's a psychologist, but she's also, like, kind of spiritually too. And she said something to me that, like, we were working through some shit, like talking stuff, doing all sorts of different things, and got to the point where she was kind of like, can I say something? I don't want to, like, if I overstep, tell me I'm wrong, or blah, blah, blah. And she goes, I think you raised yourself. I think you, particularly emotionally, she's like, I think you had to raise yourself when you were younger. Like, I think that's why you are the way you are, closed off emotionally, because the way she spoke about it was, like, you think of a 3-year-old, or you think of a puppy, or, young kids, they just express themselves 100% in this emotion, 100% in that emotion, 100%, 100%, 100%. They just go all in, and they don't hold back. They experience everything at 100%, and they get to feel it, and they get to know what it feels like. She's like, but you weren't able to do that. You had to be on, like, when I was younger, I had to be on all the time. Well, that's what she's saying. That's what she feels, and that's what kind of makes sense. She's like, you had to be on, you had to kind of try and protect yourself, and you had to learn, ways to keep yourself safe. And that didn't involve feeling my emotions. That involved shutting them down and, playing good boy, or, putting on a smile to try and protect myself. And it's just, it's blown my mind, man. Like, childhood trauma is a real thing, and I feel like no one is addressing it. It's massive. No one addresses it. It's like, I feel like our generation is kind of becoming more and more aware of it, but like it fucks your life up, and unless you deal with it, you're destined to fucking, get sick and probably die and have a shit one. Like, unless you deal with the shit that happened to you when you were a kid, like, it makes me scared. Like, I'm so glad I'm dealing with my stuff now, rather than waiting 10 years or whatever, or waiting 20 years or waiting 40 years and then fucking getting cancer and dying. Like, I'm so glad I'm dealing with it now, that when I think of, everyone around me and the people that around those people, and like, I just think, fuck, there are so many people that have problems that they're not facing, and it scares me. It's like, you gotta face that shit. Otherwise, it's very scary. But what she was saying is, like, a kid should be able to express themselves and be out there, but I wasn't able to. And then she's like, that's probably, I think, because I can read people, or I feel like I can read people very well. I can pick up when they're full of shit, and I can pick up when they're genuine. Like I can get a good read on people pretty much straight away. And she's like, you had to learn to read people just so you could keep yourself safe. So you could be like, all right, what are you doing today? How are you protecting yourself? Like, how are you going to deal with this situation? That's how you had to grow up. Which, yeah, when she told me that, when she literally said, she's like, I think you had to raise yourself, it was like someone had just fucking stabbed me, and I was like, oh, and I almost cried. Didn't, because I'm really good at holding back tears, but I almost fucking like broke down. And I was like, you got that hit a spot. You did something there. So I think that's part of the shit I got to work out, which is why it makes sense as to why I don't really know how to feel my emotions, because I've never learned. I've never got to experience them. So I was just thinking about that heaps while I was writing today. It's fucked. Just, if you got shit that happened to you when you were a child and you're not working out, or you think like you do things that are weird and you're like, why do I do these things? Go and see someone, please, because, mate, they'll change your life. And if you want to know this lady's number, ask me and I will send it to you. She's fantastic. She'll fucking change your life. All right. Moving into the topic of today. I'm going to take a drink and then we'll get into it. Oh boy. All right. So, are decisions made based on the data you consume, or are they made based on the data you create? Question by Benjamino. So I'm going to firstly start off by like breaking this down to encourage the thought process of it. Like, think along. If you're listening to this, think along and like play along with it. That's why I feel like that's the best way. Best way to do it is to play along and get interactive. So yeah, what is the data that you are consuming? Like, what data do you consume as a person? Like, for me, it's podcasts, social media, talking with friends, and then occasionally reading headlines. I don't watch the news. I don't watch TV. I watch TV shows on like Netflix, but I don't really watch the news. I don't watch TV. I don't watch ads unless they're on YouTube, and even then I try and skip them because I hate them. But that's the data that I consume. Like, I feel like, yeah, TV news, social media, podcasts, articles, headlines, and talking with friends. I feel like that's it. That covers most of the data that you can consume. And then also, like, I suppose consuming other people's behaviors as well could come into this, like judging people, things that are happening to others. So you might see someone, a couple arguing, and you think, oh, like, what a fucking dick, but you don't really know what's happened. You just assume, you consume that data, and that's kind of, you're just taking it in. So it could be interactions with people. Like, for me, if I see someone leave a trolley out, I'm like, you're a fucking dick. That's the data that I am consuming. I'll get to the next part in a second. And then, can this data be good or bad? Yes, it can. The opinion of someone who... Yes, so this data can be good or bad. Yes, it depends on the intentions of the person creating the data, like whether they have nefarious intentions and like lie and twist the truth and stuff just to try and manipulate you. That's bad. But if it's fact, it's fact. Like, you can't change fact. So I suppose it can be good or bad. It just depends on who's putting that data out there and whether they putting it out there with bad intentions or not, and whether it's like misinformation. I suppose, because fact is fact. You can't change fact. But if someone's going out there twisting the facts in order to get a certain response, then that's bad. Then we move on to the next part of the question. What is the data that you are creating? Now, this is interpretations of the data that you've consumed. It could be overthinking scenarios that haven't actually happened, like things that you think are going to happen and then overthinking them and overthinking the overthinking. Assuming certain things about topics without understanding the whole situation. So like seeing a clip of something and being like, fuck that guy. And then not actually understanding the whole situation, like not being there and not witnessing the whole lot. Like seeing someone yell at someone else and being like, okay, that person yelling is a fucking dick. Lo and behold, the person getting yelled at, like fucking, I don't know, put cream in the other guy's shoes. Like, you'd get yelled at if you did that. Or in situation of me getting yelled at today on the bike. If someone went past and said, oh, why is this guy abusing this cyclist? What a dick. Wrong. I fucking cut him off, so I deserve to be yelled at. So, like, you don't assume things. Like, that's the data you are creating. If you assume something, you're creating your own data because it doesn't exist. Shit, sorry. And then I feel like it all stems from how you were raised and what you were taught, or what you were taught about how to interpret different things. A topic that I touched on with my psychologist was like, if your parent like is upset, is visually, fucking hell, how did I fuck that up? Visually upset, and they say everything's fine. Inside, you're like, wait, what? I know you're upset, but you're saying it's fine. I don't really understand. And then you kind of don't understand the difference between upset and fine because it's conflicting. You don't know what to trust. And another example would be like the difference between a feral dog who was abused by its human, or not a feral dog, but a dog put up for adoption, or a dog abandoned, that was abused by its human, versus a dog that was loved by its human. If like that dog that was abused and treated like shit, he's going to look at all humans as fucking assholes, whereas the dog that's got cuddles every single day of its life is going to be like, these humans are great, all they want to do is hug me. And the other one's going to be like, fuck these guys, like they beat the shit out of me, tried to make me fight other dogs, didn't feed me, like I hate humans. So I guess it depends in how you are brought up as well as like how you create your own data. And then can this data be good or bad? And yes, it can. Just depending on how you were raised. Like if you were raised, let's use the most simple example possible. If you were raised in a household of like white supremacists, then yeah, it's bad. Because the viewpoint is wrong. Straight up wrong. Like what? It's ridiculous. So yes, it can be good or bad depending on how you were raised. That's obviously an extreme example, but it's still an example. So let's take a step back. Does it depend on the scenario? Whether you make the decision based on the data you consume or the data you create? I feel like, yes, it does depend on the scenario. I feel like it depends on whether there's an emotional connection or not. Because I feel like if there's no emotional connection to the decision, then it's not going to matter. You're just going to base it off the facts. Or I would anyway. I'd just get all the facts, assess it, and be like, all right, this makes more sense. Let's do this. Whereas if there's an emotional connection to the situation, then I feel like you're going to be more inclined to, create your own data in order to justify the decision you want to make emotionally. What's a good example of this? I don't know. Bottom line is, if you don't have an emotional connection to the situation, you're going to use the facts and make the decision, or I'm going to use the facts to make the decision. But if you have an emotional connection, you're going to try and make the facts to justify your decision. It's the same thing as, have you ever had like two options and then you're like, all right, I'm going to flip a coin and decide what to do. And you flip a coin. Sorry, I'm just distracted. What was that? Anyway, sorry. So you had a situation, you got two scenarios or two decisions, or decision, sorry, I just got so distracted. Just say you got a choice to make, right? And you got two options, and you decide to flip a coin to make the choice. Have you ever flipped a coin, got an answer, and been like, fuck, disappointed? That's like, you'll go, okay, best of three. That's the creating data. Like that's how I view creating data. You're like, okay, no, I'm going to go again to try and get the answer I want. When reality is, you know exactly which one you want to do. So why don't you just choose it? So I feel like it does depend, not so much on the scenario, but depends on the emotional ties to the scenario. Which is better? Well, what have I written here as notes? I don't know. I feel like they both have their own place. I think, what if your environment sucks, but you're a product of that environment, so the data you're consuming will be trash? Okay, that makes sense. So I feel like it doesn't matter. I feel like they could either be bad. They both could be bad, and they both could be good. Because not all data is factual. Not all data created is factual. It depends on who's creating it. So I suppose neither is better. They're both the same. They're both used in the same way, because, I guess you're going to create, even if you are given the best data, but you were raised, if you're given the best influences, but you were raised poorly, you're going to create shit data, and those influences are going to have no effect on you. So it's going to be pointless. So I feel like neither is better, but maybe I just answered my own question in saying that. I feel like the more powerful, so I think I just stumbled on the answer here. Neither of those options are better or worse, whether you create data yourself and base a decision off that, or whether you base a decision on data you've consumed. I feel like if you were to pick a more powerful one, the more powerful one would be data you create, because you can take in as much data from other people as you want. But if internally you're set on, you've got your focus on bad shit, and you've been raised poorly, you're going to make bad data, and you're going to make your decisions based on those bad data. It doesn't matter if you've grown up in a fucking racist household. It doesn't matter how much positive data you take in on colored people or people from other races. You're going to see them as bad because of the way you were brought up, unless you fucking go through repetitive fucking therapy and figure out that that's not the case, and undo all of that learning. So I think the more powerful one is the data you create yourself. But at the same time, I think data you consume does have an effect. I feel like it depends on your personality, and I feel like it all comes back to how you were raised, to be honest. I feel like the answer to this question, are decisions made based on the data you consume, or are they based on the data you create? I feel like that comes back to how you were raised. Because if I speak at it from my perspective and what I would do, I generally weigh up both things. I will weigh up the facts and what I've taken in and the information I've consumed, and then I'll be like, okay, how do I feel about this? That's how I kind of deal with things. I can consult both. So do they both work in unison? For me, yes, they do, definitely. But I feel like for, other people, they're going to, consume other people's data, or consume data from different platforms and whatever, and they're going to be like, bullshit. I'm right. So I feel like it completely depends on who you are as a person and how you are raised. I feel like it has nothing to do with, or it does have something to do with it, but it doesn't have anything to do with whether it's creating or consuming. I feel like it has to do with who you are as a person and how you actually work through making decisions. Some people are just boom, rapid fire. I don't even know how they make decisions that quickly. Other people actually weigh up the shit. So, and again, it would come down to how you were raised. Were you raised to listen to other people and actually take in the information they were providing, or were you raised to just make your own decisions based on how you feel? Again, it comes back to that. So I feel like a bit of a letdown with this topic. I feel like it was interesting, but I didn't really come to a fucking conclusion on it. Interesting topic though. I'm going to be thinking about this one tonight. That's for sure. And I'm going to be thinking about how I make my decisions from now on, whether I'm making them based on the data I've consumed, or whether I'm making them based on the data that I've created based on the data that I've consumed. Imagine if I just entered the Matrix right now, just into the microphone, and that was it. Disappeared into the Matrix. Or, it's probably not possible, because we're in the Matrix. I don't know. Anyway, fucking lost my thought a couple of times today, didn't I? I was getting distracted. Maybe it's because I haven't had enough sugar. Got to drink another Cocoa Coast after this one. My bike's going in for a service next week. Getting tuned up, ready to rip at Geelong. I'm fucking keen, mate. Or maybe it's not next week. Maybe it's the week after. Yeah. Not long now. How many days does it say? Does my thing 2 weeks? 2 weeks until the event. I'm fucking pumped. Yeah. I swam like 12 Ks this week. It was legit. I'm feeling really good in the pool. That's why I sauntered so much and spent a lot of time with, I was going to say douchebags, but guys just talking absolute fucking bullshit, man. I still can't believe it. They're just most full of shit. They're almost as full of shit as old ex-bodybuilder guys that are in the gym. And old dudes in general, just being like, yeah, I fucking used to be an Ironman athlete, but you know what? I just gave it up because I didn't want to anymore. I did one race. It was a fucking sprint triathlon. It's like, that's not an Ironman. That's a sprint tri. Well, what's a fucking Ironman? Oh, it's like 70 times that distance. Oh, yeah. Anyway, how's this for a topic? All right, let's finish with this last topic of the day. I had a realization sometime this week, right? So I know there's a bit of difference between people who I'm not assuming, but I'm going to assume here. I don't like to assume, but I'm going to assume. There's people who like exercise and like training, and there's people who like drinking. And I feel like you can't really understand the other one, or unless you do both, you don't really understand the other person. Like people who drink a lot and drink fucking heaps and love it, versus people who exercise a lot all the time and love it. I feel like for me, I don't drink because I like to get up and exercise. So I feel like they're almost mutually exclusive, almost. So I feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding. Like people who drink heaps are like, why the fuck would you get up and go for a 4-hour ride? Why would you do that? That's so silly. It's painful. It's not fun. And to a certain extent, yeah, it is painful. It's not that great. It's hard, really hard. But I enjoy it. I feel good afterwards. And then people who drink are then I look at people who drink. I'm like, why the fuck would you drink? And wake up feeling shitty. But I'm not acknowledging the fact that you feel good when you feel good when you're drinking. You feel happy. And for me, they're not acknowledging the fact that when I finish riding or finish exercising, I feel pretty good. So I feel like they're the same. I feel like people who drink and the people who exercise are the fucking exact same. You could literally swap and you would still get the same benefit, except I'd prefer to be doing the thing that makes me feel good after than the thing that makes me feel shit after. At least with me, I can exercise for an hour at the start of the day and then feel good for the rest of the day. Whereas with drinking, you would have to drink for the whole day to feel good for the whole day. And then you'd probably fucking suffer for a whole day. So I feel like exercise wins. So if there was a competition between people who drink and exercise, I feel like exercise is going to win with benefits because you're healthy too. You get health benefits out of it as well. I feel like I was just talking absolute fucking shit out of my ass then, but it's true though. People who drink and people who exercise are one and the same. As my psychologist is saying, it's addictive behavior. To the level I do it in certain scenarios. But anyway, I feel like that's enough for today. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I'm starting to lose my voice. Gosh, I should have eased back into this, hey. Sorry, I didn't even touch on this. Fucking hell. So last week, I recorded using a different platform, and the audio was just fucking shit. I didn't like it at all. I didn't use the soundboard that much, and I was like, I don't think I need to use the soundboard, so I'm going to try and figure out a different solution. But in the meantime, I'm just going to go back to my old ways because they were better. They work better for me. They're easier to do. I ended up using the footage from my GoPro again, so I'm going to go back to the old school ways of doing shit. But yeah, happy days. Have a good day. Have a good week. And I'll check in with you next week. Peace out, my friends. I lost my train of thought.